spending the last week of our Snowbird trip in the most quintessential of Snowbird states,
Florida.
Florida.
Our first stop in Florida is to go to Fort Pickens campground in the
Gulf State National Seashore.
Gulf State National Seashore. We like the national seashores now.
We'd arrived pretty late, so we had just enough time to set up campground, so we didn't get to explore until the next day.
Yeah.
Luckily, the campground's really close to the trail, so we were able to pick the trail up and start hiking up to the fort. So Fort Pickens is 9/10 of a mile. I'm warming up.
You will notice we're still wearing puffy jackets and hats in Florida. Compared to some of our other hikes, this one was easy, nice and flat, and really no change in elevation whatsoever.
On the way to the fort, we came across one of the batteries. There's a bunch of these batteries all over the island. This one was Battery Worth, and they let you go up in there and just kind of look around. It's pretty cool. After a thorough examination of Battery Worth, we headed down the trail again. We did get to see a little bit of wildlife on the trail. The most notable one, though, was when we crossed this bridge and looked down and saw this massive
Snapping
turtle.
turtle, yeah.
Oh yeah, look at him down there. Wow.
Yeah, at first it was hard to see, but then he started coming towards the surface, and not only was there the turtle, but there were a bunch of minnows, or small fish, kind of hanging around the front of him. So, very neat.
We also saw the placard for the northern terminus of the Florida Trail, because this is all part of the Florida Trail.
Right.
So we technically did about 2 miles of the 1,300 miles of the Florida Trail.
Yeah.
It counts.
Yeah, just a couple more miles to go.
Before heading into the fort, we decided to hike all the way around it.
There is only one way to visit the fort.
You have to go all the way around.
Must follow the path, the proper direction.
Tell you everything I've seen.
In our hike around the fort, we ran into some more batteries. There was 3 or 4 different ones that we went into. This is the one that we actually videotaped.
We had this discussion, I'll call it, about why Florida has all these forts and batteries. What were they defending against? And as near as I can tell, there were few, if any, actual battles for Florida.
True, but I think they used them primarily for training purposes.
Okay, I'll grant you that.
Fort Pickens was built in the 1830s, and at that time, masonry or bricks was how they built the forts. By the time that it was completed, though, that was basically obsolete.
Yeah, it's kind of a recurring theme for these forts. By the time they were completed versus the time that they started, the technology for defense kept changing, and they were always behind the times by the time the fort was commissioned or activated.
Yeah, hence all the batteries. So even within the fort itself, they have a battery that is made out of concrete, which is much more defensible.
Soon I'm on my way. Yes, I'm on my way.
cool.
Every time that I breathe, I can feel you worry. So I have to take my love and write a different story. I'm on my way. Yes, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Yes, I'm on my way.
In the fort, you're free to kind of roam around and explore at will. They do have some tour guides if you want some assistance, but it's kind of cool. You can go up on the ramparts and check out the cannons.
Yeah. And there's lots of views as well. The ramparts kind of look over the different waterways nearby, so it was pretty cool just to walk around and kind of do a self-guided tour.
Right. And it's interesting because, of course, they have all kinds of explanations. You can see where the cannon, they have mechanisms for turning it, and yeah, it is an enjoyable experience, I felt.
Visitor Center.
One of our favorite things. Yeah, the Visitor Center covered a broad base of topics, not just the fort. So that was kind of interesting. They talked about the landscape of the area.
Yeah, the geology.
Wildlife.
Also some of the events that have shaped it, like hurricanes.
Yeah, it's very cool. Of course, they also talked about the fort as well.
Yeah, and the native folks that lived there prior to the fort.
Indigenous people.
Thank you. That's the word I was thinking of.
Yeah, so 2 thumbs up. We enjoyed this visitor center a lot. We had a pretty full morning exploring Fort Pickens and the area around it. And then we had to hike back to the campground, got some lunch, and went hiking to the beach. This beach was one of the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen, and a lot of that is due to the nature of the sand. It's 90% quartz is what we learned, and it's just sugary soft. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and it's just remarkably clean and bright as well when you get there, and the water is pristine on top of that, so it just gives this amazing beach effect when you get there.
Exactly, and there's hardly anyone there, which is just amazing.
That was surprising. There really were very few people there. We kind of got out for a couple sunsets, and there were a handful, but not very many, and then a day like today, nobody.
Yeah, we just had it all to ourselves. It was unbelievable. Last night we headed into Pensacola to grab a dinner and look around.
Yeah, we found Jacko's restaurant and put our name on the list. And while we waited, we got to kind of walk around the plaza.
Yeah, there was lots to see. It's very cool. I really loved our stay in Fort Pickens.
Yeah, I think the campground was nice, and we really liked the area as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely be back. But now it's time for us to head over to Fort Clinch.
And we get to dip our toe in the Atlantic Ocean, don't we?
We do. Fort Clinch is just outside of this really cute city called
Fernandina Beach.
It was really, really quaint. Probably could have hung out there for a week if we wanted to.
Definitely.
But so we walked around and checked out the city.
Yeah, we grabbed a coffee before our boat tour as well. So there are a ton of cafes and coffee shops there.
Yeah, lots to see and do. But the main reason we were there was to go on a river cruise. The river cruise was a lot of fun. In addition to learning a lot about the region, we also got to go and visit Cumberland Island National Seashore. And we actually got to see some of the wild horses that they're famous for.
Yeah, I think he called them feral horses.
Feral horses, not wild horses, right?
Important distinction, I guess. I don't know.
Good stuff. They built this last chip pile about 4 years ago to keep up with the demand for Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Amazon, Walmart.com. All these guys get their boxes made right here. Our local favorite pizzeria, Moon River Pizza. Go in there, get a pizza, look at the box. It's branded and made locally right here by Westrock. They do big and small. We like having them here. We do get a pretty offensive smell. It's going to be because of the pipe. And it's not what's coming out of the pipe. The only thing that comes out of the pipe is 95%.
On the Atlantic side of the beach, we saw these massive amounts of birds. They were just hanging out, making all kinds of ruckus. It was also interesting because we learned on the tour that to try and fight erosion on the island, they're actually running a trenching service. What do you call that?
No, trenching.
Trenching service to try and keep the erosion to a minimum.
Yeah, this is the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and they're kind of undoing something that they originally did that caused the erosion to accelerate unexpectedly.
Yeah, so it's cool to sit there and watch the birds and watch the boats.
Babe, can we go to another fort?
Of course we can.
Great.
I think I get a little bit more enthused about these historical things than John does, but he's a good sport and comes along. So we went to the Fort Clinch Visitor Center and checked that out and got the tickets to actually go into the fort. You actually have to purchase tickets for this.
Yeah, and when you purchase the tickets, you actually have to go through a door that's in back of the register. It's weird. We walked out of the building thinking we could go back in, and we
Nope,
can't.
you have to go through the visitor center.
We weren't the only ones that did that.
Right, yeah. So this Fort Clinch is another masonry fort, also probably built in the early 1800s. Like Fort Pickens, once you're in the fort, you're kind of free to roam around and go wherever you want to go. It's cool seeing the old living quarters and imagining all the people that served in this fort through the years.
because we could, we walked all the way around the ramparts, kind of checking out all the different cannons and the views from each of the different angles. It was pretty cool to go and see that. It was mostly earthen ramparts too.
There were so many cool things to see at Fort Clinch, but my three favorite things were the Spanish moss, the seashells, and our beautiful sunrises that we got to enjoy.
One of the things I was excited about was after capturing sunsets on the Pacific Ocean, I wanted to capture sunrises over the Atlantic, and we were able to do that.
And way too soon, it was time for us to pack up camp for the last time. The tent was a little bit damp, so we gave it some time to dry off before packing up.
Yeah, the checkout time was much later than normal, and it certainly wasn't very wet compared to what we've seen, so it was easy to wait it out. But this also happened to be the warmest day of the entire trip.
Yeah.
We were
On our last day, we finally found some warm weather.
Yeah.
Misty mountains, dusty roads ahead, crossing rivers, dreaming of a bed from a window in the mighty clouds up high. I can touch a stream of gold above, breaking through with hope of light.
Our goal was to go towards the south and try to be warm during the winter, and I think we accomplished that to a degree. It was colder than we thought in many places, but we turned it into a true coast-to-coast adventure, stretching from the Pacific all the way back to the Atlantic before heading home, and it was a great time. I think we experienced a lot and really had a lot of fun.
I agree. It was an amazing experience.
So thanks for viewing our little videos here, and we look forward to sharing our upcoming adventures with you very soon.